My name is Maddie Metivier. Like Shanae, I kind of live a double life, if you will, as a designer. I'm currently a founding creative partner at Aji Creative, a Black owned design house. I also am an intern at Pentagram in New York. So I ask you all to keep this phrase in mind as I speak. See things you have not seen before, patterns of the past and present, and the way forward. So, where are we currently? We're in 2020. Yeah, I know. Let that sigh out. A global pandemic, a child in the highest office in the land, and a racial reckoning that is more than overdue. We're in a third Black Renaissance. We see images of our plight on the daily. As Black artists, we are working to preserve our voices. As Black artists, we are working to honor our own. And as Black artists, we are amplifying our narratives. This tradition of the Black artist is not new. We as Black people maintain a storytelling tradition that spans through generations and allows for us to preserve our journey. The Black experience has always been one of beauty and protest. Pre-American experiment, we were storytellers. The griot was tasked to keep records of all births, deaths, marriages, and other significant events. Then the transition happened, and what became of the griots? I believe their spirit is in Black artists. Let's start with the first Renaissance, the Harlem Renaissance. As a product of the Great Migration, our Black experience traveled from the depths of the South to the new horizons of the North in order to forge new stories. A term coined by Elaine Locke to describe the metamorphosis of the American Black life into the metropolitan realm, casting off stereotypes or stereotypical imagery from the years prior. From this era of transformation, we received artists such as Aaron Douglas and Augusta Savage, both of whom embody the purpose of the griots and sought to depict the reality and potential of the Black experience. So, what came of the Harlem Renaissance? The idea of the transformed Negro. I know that term sounds a little weird coming from me right now, but it was important. It was a step forward in the American experiment. Now we move to the second Renaissance of the 1960s. Our voice intertwined itself in the civil rights movement. Fists, froze, and marches wove their way into the collective mind of our people. The idea that our African roots were to be intertwined into the fabric of the American experiment, legislation changed, speech changed, even our educational practices got a little bit more Afrocentric. The Black Power movement gave us the protest artistry of Wadsworth Jarrell, Carolyn Lawrence, and Barbara Jones Hugu, not to mention artist groups such as Afrocobra and Wayusi became the keepers of our voice in protest. We see this time as giving way to the revolutionary. In contrast to the first Renaissance, we no longer sought to fall in line or assimilate to the cherry pie and red, white, and blue ideals of the era. So, it's 2020. Now what? Where does our destiny as Black artists find itself? What are we doing to preserve our voices in history? How are we keeping the records of our significant strides? Our Renaissance is the Black Lives Matter movement. Experiences that may have been lost in our prior history can now be preserved in ways that venture practically uncharted territory. So, how is this possible? We have something that our previous two Renaissance does not: the ability to spread our voices instantly and globally. While that gift is to be used responsibly, all are finally able to be heard. We as Black artists are capturing our own voices. Sound familiar? So I ask you, what is our legacy? What stories will we tell the Black Lives Matter movement? How will history write this time? How will we create art? We understand our past and how art can aid in creating and shifting change. Now, what will we do with it? What is to come of now? I say that we keep pushing on for our fight and social change, and adding to the beauty every step of the way. We see currently how effective our voice can be, but there's always more to be done. So I say, I say this, I say this talk is ongoing because our renaissance is nowhere near complete. To us and our allies, you must see the past, learn from them, and gather inspiration from it, and move towards a transformed experience in the American experiment. So if you'd like to see how I'm answering my now what, feel free to follow me on any of these platforms, connect with me, and we can talk about revolution.